Welcome to Frida Miletsky Healing Arts. I'm your host, Frida, and I am the healing artist. Good morning, friends. It is Thursday, March 13th in the beautiful state of California, Bay Area, and it is raining. We have had in the last few years, the weather has really been different than it used to be. So as you may remember, my husband and I have bought a house a few years ago, and we're in the inner East Bay. And we bought this house, and it was a total remodel, really beautiful. We're excited about it. And because it was a remodel, everything in it was like revamped, upgraded, redone. And it had a relatively new roof. And unfortunately, shortly after we moved in, we started realizing that there were actually some issues with the roof that we have been dealing with this whole time and that of living here. And it's just not been the easiest situation. It has been challenging. A place where my husband and I do work, quote unquote, where we do work, like say lessons, or what are the hardships, or what are the things that we struggle with. It has sort of been around housing and housing situations that are difficult, working with contractors, doing major construction projects, stuff like that. At our old home where we lived, we had a condo with four other families, or three other families. There were four families in the condo building, so a small HOA. And it was a soft story. Well, if you're familiar with soft stories in the Bay Area, like in earthquake country, a soft story is like really dangerous. So it was a property that was built with garages underneath it. And we did an entire retrofit, and finding a structural engineer to do this project for us was really challenging. The company that ultimately ended up being willing to work with us and do the blueprints turned out that they were like the creme de la creme. So it was insanely expensive to do this retrofit. Like you could buy an entire other house, like a single family home in the Bay, for the cost of the retrofit. We split it between the four units, but it was like cuckoo bananas. It also went into the pandemic, which caused delays in a way where the project ended up we were under construction. We were in an under construction home for 2 years. Prior to that, we had put a new roof on that property. And just, we have had a lot of housing stuff, especially around, interestingly enough, water damage. Water damage seems to be the thing that we have dealt with in all of these properties and all of these homes. So anyway, the roof is a bit of what I call a stanker. And simultaneously, we had to ride this emotional wave of knowing that we need to get a new roof. It is still under warranty, but the company that had did it was not responding to us, and it's just one of these things. And sometimes you have to just be angry and then ultimately surrender to accepting the fact that that's going nowhere. So now we just do this. We just figure this out. So I went to 5 different roofing companies for estimates and met with 5 different people who came in, checked it out, gave their opinions. One of them immediately was off the table because they shook my hand, didn't even come in the house, just popped up on the roof, took a look around, and left, telling me they were going to send me an estimate in an email, without ever even telling me that they were leaving. This person just immediately was like, oh, I'm not dealing with them. They never did send me an estimate. in an email. And I never followed through or followed up with that because I was just like, oh no, that is absolutely not somebody I would want to work with. The other 4 all shook my hand, came in, sat down at the dining room table, went over things, had, the different samples of things that they would put on the roof, took their time taking measurements, took their time looking at things, and then came in and sat at the table with me while they put together a detailed proposal. So out of those 4 companies, it was like narrowing down costs and like different little things that they were willing to add in and all of that. And I did this over the course of 2 weeks, gathered all of these things up, and then my husband and I sat down and we looked over everything together. And, it was really stressful period of time. And it was also like while I was starting to really first open up my business. And I think I had chatted on here before, but it was like my dreams were coming true. It's like the best thing. And simultaneously, like looking at the numbers that were coming in for how much this roof was going to cost, they were honestly like mostly in the same arena of a number. And it was like, it was really expensive. It was like very, very surprisingly expensive. We have 2 different kinds of roofs. We have flat roof and we have a peaked asphalt roof. So I guess there's a little bit of trickiness involved to some of the ways that the situation joins up. There were just a number of things. Also, just the Bay Area, and also, quite frankly, materials just cost what materials cost. Like, they have become extremely expensive. Like, a sheet of plywood to, like, replace some dry rot or something like that, they were telling us used to cost, like, in the $25 arena. Like, they said even further back, like $15, $25. And now those sheets run $120 a piece. So just the cost of supplies are what they are. And the cost of labor is what it is. Like, yeah, pay your people. It just is what it is. And it was just like an unexpected cost that we were just like, oh man. So really like letting that sink in. And that didn't happen overnight. I want to say, so something I do in my life is I use the surrender release process. And I learned that from Michael Singer. He wrote The Untethered Soul. And he also really helped me learn sitting in witness consciousness. So you sort of sit outside of the seat of, so you're sitting in the seat of yourself, but you're sort of like outside of yourself in a way where you can choose how you respond to the triggers that come up in your life. And then he teaches us that when the triggers arise, he teaches this surrender release process. So he talks a lot about like blocked energy fields in the body and how trauma will come in and like sort of create these like blockages within our energetic field, and then sort of like more traumas just pile on top of and on top of and on top of and on top of. I wouldn't use these words to describe it. It's not exactly the way I see it, but I respect and honor his teaching. I think it's quite good, and it really helped me learn years ago. So The Untethered Soul, and then also Michael Singer has just a lot of lectures. Some of those lectures are presented even in podcast form for free, you can find. He has a podcast through Sounds True. So using the surrender release process. And then also, I work with codependents. I have codependent tendencies that I've been working with for several years now, and I swear to you, I'm getting better and better and better. But the place that I work with them the most is with my husband, because I don't want his life to be uncomfortable. It's just, and like sometimes in a marriage, things are uncomfortable, and like it's okay for them to be uncomfortable. It's okay. Yeah, this is just a place where I am doing my work. So we're looking at these numbers. We sat down to look at all the different things, and each company had plenty of merit. So I'm going to walk you through how we chose the company we chose. One of them was presenting an energy that was just simply way too eager. They were willing to bend over backwards and do anything to get the number in a range that we were comfortable paying for, and had all of these unique ideas to get that number lower. And the eagerness and the constant phone calls wondering if we had chosen them yet made me go, it was very repelling. So like originally, even though I was like, oh, this company seems really eager and willing to do whatever it takes to get our business, that sort of turned into, like, over the course of 2 weeks, like almost like a repulsion, because it was just the person was like too hungry. And at the end of the day, because of the situation that we're currently in, I wanted to choose a roofing company that had been around for like 20, 25, 35 years, like a family business. Like I was looking for a company that was guaranteed in a way where like they were going to back up their work. And I don't know, there was just something here. My gut was just like, nope, way too eager. You're too hungry. So I just wasn't believing the numbers that he kept coming back with, a lower and lower number, and I just didn't quite get it. So they were off the table. Then we had a company where the guy came, and I was so impressed by his products that he had and his little booklet, and he was very assured and like showed me all of the things and confident, and I loved that confidence. And his price, it felt very creme de la creme. It was quite high, but it also had a really nice, long-lasting warranty, and it just felt like a company that has done a lot of work. They know what they're doing, and is, guaranteed in multiple ways. And the product that they were using was like the kind of thing that you could put as a tax write-off because it's like energy efficient and all these different things. So, but that number was like, uncomfortable. Like, sit with it and trying to figure it out. Like, definitely uncomfortable within my body. And then another company, my parents said, well, why don't you try a company from Sacramento? Because maybe it'll be a little cheaper. So, I called one up, also 5-star rated online. Well, what do you think about this? And they came down, and they were also lovely, very confident, super opinionated, and had a totally different solution for the roof than the previous one. So we have like a flat roof, so it can be one of three things. It could be torch down, it could be TPO, or it could be PVC. Well, we have a standing water issue, and like the current TPO is what's failing because it's not great for standing water. It's just simply a product that probably should never have been put up there in the first place. It wasn't a good choice for the roof. So we're trying to decide between the PVC and the torch down. And from like checking out the products and stuff like that, I didn't particularly want a PVC roof because it's like basically like a pool lining, but it's apparently great for standing water because it is like a pool lining. But again, it is like really, really expensive. And also it can get damaged really easily because it's a pool lining, and you go up there to sweep the water off the top of the roof, the standing water, and what if you get a snag in it and stuff like that? That's where the difficulty comes from. And it only had like a 5-year warranty, and it was, again, a really high number, a surprisingly high number. So then we ultimately ended up meeting with, I was only going to get 3 bids, eliminating that other one guy that came and left. It was like, so that was 4, right? So then I ultimately was just like, I went through this process of, I need to just completely surrender all of this. I need to release it to the universe, and I need to get right with being okay with the number. It is what it is. So I used the Michael Singer surrender release process to walk. I did walking meditation day in and day out for 3 days. I allowed all of the triggers and fears to come up. I'd take it to the woods, is the way I'd say it. So I'd go to the woods and I would walk and I would just bring these things up and I would allow them to surface. I didn't write a story about them. I just allowed them to come up. So the prices that we were looking at were they were under $50,000, but more than $40,000, okay? So in that arena. And I would just allow fears like, how are we going to get that money? Like, that's so uncomfortable to just pay that cash right out the door. That's so uncomfortable. I don't want to refinance. Like all of those sort of things that come up, like spooky stuff about how does one do this? You take a bridge loan. Like, what does this look like? Financing. That's something people do, right? I actually don't have any experience with financing, but I would allow these things to rise to the surface. They'd come up, I'd feel them, I'd find them in my body, and then I'd bring them to the light. God, universe, source, meet me in the XYZ place in which I was finding it in my body. Helps transmute this discomfort, help me to surrender to love. Help me move through this discomfort, process it through. Help bring me to neutral, step after step after step. So I'm on my walking meditations. I just allow it to arise and just surrender it completely to the universe. And this didn't happen right away. Like, this took time. And I went through the whole gamut of emotions. I was so angry and I felt really deceived and pissed off. And it felt like, why do we always lose at housing? Like it was just like something that felt really awful. And I had to move completely out of the victim consciousness around why are we losers at housing or choosing housing, and like move completely through that victim consciousness to arrive at a place where I'm like, it's just life. How can I accept this is just what is? We'll figure out the money. We'll come up with it. We always do. Do I want to be doing this? No. Heck no. Is it the end of the world? No. How can I use this lesson to deepen my spiritual experience? How can I use this lesson to move through this discomfort, to arrive at neutral? How can I use this experience to remember that I'm alive in a human form, having this 3D reality experience, and just don't take it so seriously, Frida. Just laugh. It's just money. Money's an energy. It just is. Everything's going to be okay. So surrender, release, walking meditation. And using my Ho'oponopono, which I always do. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. Running the mantra, walking, running the mantra, walking, talking to the earth. I work a lot with the land, the trees, talking to the soil as I walk on the earth. I walk on the land and I ask, please transmute this energy. Allow it to flow through the bottoms of my feet and return to the land. Doing no harm as it goes, being returned to source, return for the highest good of all. Please help me process through this energy so that I can just arrive at neutral. Please take the sting off of this. Please just help me to meet this for what it is. The roof is leaking. We need a new roof. Meet us in a place where we can just get okay with the fact it costs what it costs. We'll figure it out. It's all going to be okay. So it just like took days. So anyway, I get to the place where I felt neutral about it. I woke up the next day and I had like a little ping. I was like, you know what? Go online and look for somebody who is really, really local and highly rated. So I went on, I looked for a 5-star, very local person, somebody who was like within the 30-mile radius of our zip code. And several different companies came up. I read through their little Yelp reviews. And I just sort of looked at them and I used my intuition to just run my finger over them and sort of just decide which one was like a yes or which one was a no. And one of them stood out. And I called them. And this gentleman came out later that day, on the same day. My husband had been absent because he was working for all of these other meetings. He happened to be able to be home that day. He happened to be able to also meet with this roofer at the same time, which was wonderful because that's 2 of us being able to be there. It's not just me getting all the... He was able to ask his questions as well. It wasn't just me filtering the information. He gave us a number that was less than between 40 and 50. He gave us something that, like the warranty was good. It has a 20-year warranty. He walked me through the whole thing, and he also offered me something that just took me over the top with like, yes, this company. And that was, he said he would paint the ceiling for me on the inside of my house. We have these gorgeous vaulted ceilings, which were the reason that we fell in love with this place, honestly. It's beautiful, open, vaulted ceilings that are gorgeous. And because of the leaking, they have little yellow dots all over them and like spots have come up. And he's going to clean, and we have to buy the paint, but he's going to send somebody in here and they're going to paint the ceiling for me. Now, this whole time, I have been fantasizing about when we get a new roof, I see myself on the ceiling repainting my ceiling. It was the first thing I was going to do because I was experiencing sadness and remorse about the fact that I had these little yellow dots on the ceiling. And when I looked up, like, I loved my beautiful white ceiling. Like, that was, I loved seeing that. And this guy said that he would send somebody to paint the ceiling a beautiful white again. Well, that took me over the top. So it was like better than I could have hoped for, but I needed to arrive at a place where I was like chill, neutral. I got to the place where it was like, yeah, that's a lot of money and we'll figure it out. We'll pay for it. It'll be okay. Everything will be okay. It's going to work out. I got out of the discomfort. And then this roofer came into our lives that was like totally down to do it for a price that was way less of a squeeze than between 40 and 50. So at that point, it felt like gratitude. I was jumping up and down. Yes, we're replacing the roof, but I'm jumping up and down in celebration like it's a miracle. It's a miracle it could be at this number. That's amazing. With a 20-year warranty, and it's a company that's been in business. And he was able to even knock more money off. He was able to knock another $3,500 off because it's super local. We're sharing a dumpster with another family having their roof redone. So he was able to knock some more money off. Like, it was genuinely, truly, in my personal opinion, a miracle. There's an acceptance of, yes, we're having the roof redone. It would be great if it wasn't happening. But because we have to, this is the best case scenario in the family of getting it done. But this didn't just happen. I needed to ride the emotional wave. I needed to be angry. I needed to feel all the feelings. I needed to grieve and be so damn disappointed that it didn't work out. I had to go into all of the feelings of feeling victimized in housing, and I needed to really bring those to the light and transmute those energies, to remove them from my system in order to arrive at a place where we were guided to a company that we were both able to be here for. They're doing more than we had hoped for, are highly rated with a 20-year warranty, and they start on Monday. So there was another part of this process also, which is we live within a situation where we have like an HOA, because it's like a community with like a pool and playground and stuff like that. So it like the HOA takes care of the grounds. And we had to get you have to get projects approved. So that was another process of like submitting and, giving the permit number and getting all of that sort of stuff worked out. And none of that was exactly easy. It all had its challenges along the way. But instead of being angry about it, because I had put myself in a place of neutrality with it, I shrugged my shoulders, I threw my hands up, and I just sort of say, I gave it up to God, right? It's just sort of like, it is in the universe's hands. I have done everything that I can do at this point. Just help make this work. And if it doesn't work, then we figure it out from there. But like, there is nothing that I could do in terms of fretting and being in anxiety while those papers were getting approved by the HOA. And there were some setbacks during that period with that process. And it was approved. But I never allowed those setbacks to like get me into an energy of victimhood again. If this roof situation has brought me to the point where I could finally release any victim consciousness around housing, something that I've dealt with now for like, geez Louise, a very, very long time. That's a cycle has gone on since I want to say like 2011. Like if that cycle could end and I could just meet the world as is and we just figure stuff out and stuff is what it is and acceptance and surrender and release and move through the world with neutrality. Like hallelujah, I'll take it. I'll take a roof replacement to get that lesson. Heck yeah, it's not that uncomfortable. So that was a long-winded story about arriving at neutral. I hope that was helpful. So other things that are going on, looking forward to the roof being replaced next week. Looking forward to my 4th week of teaching. I am loving teaching. My return to self-love container that I'm teaching in the mornings, it is my joy. It is just like everything. I absolutely love waking up early Monday through Friday, going and channeling light in the mornings, teaching, doing all of that. It is my heart. It is so good. And the people that are in that community are, it is a joy to be with these people. And they are high-level healing students. Like, I am in there with people that are on the precipice of greatness. What a bloody honor. What an honor. I feel like I'm like holding their hand and just walking them over the finish line of like, okay, get out there, now shine bright. Like, what do you want to do next? It's really, really cool. I might offer, before signing off for the day, I might offer to you, where are places where you feel a lot of discomfort as you go through your life? And those are the places where your big life lessons are. Those are the places where there's work to be done within your system. Those are the places where you can surrender, release. So if it's a new thought to you to identify issues through the things that keep reoccurring in your life over and over, and just offer that for some food for thought. When you experience discomfort, Can you lean into it? Can you allow it to move through your body and arrive at neutral? If the healing journey is new to you, the answer to that is probably not, because all of this takes a lot of practice and a lot of work to be able to do. That's why you reach out to healers or therapists or study. Go to books, go to audiobooks, and study to be able to do it, because there is freedom outside of suffering. There is a freedom. And that freedom comes from acceptance and moving through the entire emotional wave and process and moving through the grief. All right, my loves. Well, this has been a fun chat. If you are interested in my Return to Self-Love program, you can visit my website, freedahealing.com. There is a section under Return to Self-Love you can click on, and you can read more about the program, and then you can book a 20-minute consultation call where we can meet each other and you can hear more about the program. You can meet me. I can hear what your needs are, and we can even see if we're a good fit to work together. I can share my screen and show you what the inside of the community looks like, because you can't see it unless you're in it, because it is a private online community. It is a safe container for those inside. All right, my love, I love you. God, Universe, Source loves you, and I hope you have a wonderful day.